Okay, so welcome back. This is my second live stream of the day. And like I was telling my audience earlier, and by the way, if this is your first time here, my name is Swamp Rose, and I covered for many years the case against Brian Koberger, otherwise known as the Idaho4 case. In fact, I had a whole podcast on it. And every once in a while, I get an update come across my desk that is it's almost negligent if I don't share it with my audience. Now, I know a lot of you have seen this update, but like I said, this is primarily just to keep my audience updated. I've made this members only. I'll make it public afterwards, but I want to talk a little bit about the surviving roommates and what they heard, because we have heard in transcripts of their text messages along with multiple interviews what they've said, but it's all been like a summary of what the police heard. It's not an actual recorded interview or actual transcript of an interview. And also, I would imagine some relevant details have been left out. Regardless, what I want to talk about is, I want to talk about several things. The first thing is the things that DM heard during the 3-minute period the police alleged the crime happened. So let me adjust my camera here. I feel like I'm showing way too much. By the way, I hope you're having a great day. I am so grateful it's the weekend. I hope you have good plans. I hope you're getting some rest and relaxation this weekend. But if you're doing anything special, go ahead and leave it in the chat. I'd love to know. Anyway, MPD did these dry runs, so to speak, of the crime that we learned about through the new unredacted documents. And the crime allegedly happened in approximately, from what they say, 2 minutes to 3 minutes. Now I'm not in the screen. Sorry, puppy. And in that time period, DM says that she heard several things. One of them is she thought she heard Kaylee say, "There's someone here." She also heard a male's voice that she didn't recognize say, "It's okay, I'm here to help." I'm changing this lighting here. And then we heard in one of the interviews that right before the crime, she was watching Vampire Diaries on her iPad. Oh, let me see how that looks. Oh, that's so much better. Maybe we won't make this public. We'll keep it members live. And one of the things she said is, "It's okay. I'm here to help you." Now, there were a couple interesting things we learned from that particular interview. And one of them is that she said she knew the person who was in the house heard her. And I thought that was breathtaking, because at first, when we heard, "Oh, it's okay, I'm here to help you," or "It's okay, I'm here to help," you didn't know if they were directing that at the victim, or you didn't know if they were directing that at the survivor. But she says that with all the calling and the yelling, whoever was in the house had to have known she was here. Now, I've heard people talk about this in live streams, and my breath was taken away when I saw these posts on X. So the first thing I'm going to do is give credit. I heard about this first because I follow Twiz on X, and his handle is TwizWasRight. And this was posted by the Crime Diva. And these are clips from the actual episode from the Vampire Diaries that DM was allegedly watching that night. So these clips actually quote what we heard in the PCA. And like I said, I know probably many of you have already heard this, but this is an update for my subscribers. I think this is breathtaking. The words that we heard in the PCA are actually in this. And then I'm going to get into the forensic download right after I play this. These are literally 30 seconds worth of video, but I'm going to play all three, and you're going to recognize all of the things that they say from what you read in the police reports.
You're gonna be okay. No, it's okay. I'm here to help. Get away from me! I'm here to help you. Caroline, she's here!
unmute myself. So I don't have the other clips here, but you get what I'm saying. It's, whoa. So you see what I'm saying? Some of these things seem to be intertwined with the interview that DM did. So it wasn't Vampire Diaries. Was this her mixing her thoughts in with what she heard? Now, the one thing I will say about the timeline that the MPD presented, the one thing I'm basing all of that on is assuming it's based on the forensic downloads of the phones. Now, there was an issue with Xana's phone. We had a forensic download originally in the PCA stating that she was on TikTok at like a little after 4 a.m. and come to find out she wasn't. It was an hour earlier. When I think of forensic download, I think of what I learned from Socialite Crime Club, because I followed Cy and Carrie Ray when they were active on YouTube and they had a lot of shows. And one of the things that I found incredible about what they do is that in some of their instances, they were able to pinpoint the location of the person so precisely. It's like they know what level of the house they're on. Now, if that's true, the timeline would have been based also off the forensic downloads. And that's what they said. They said that they based their timeline off Xana's forensic downloads. So I'm assuming they had all of the forensic downloads to all of the roommates. That would mean they had, specifically, we know Kaylee would have been awake in Xana. I don't know about Ethan and Maddie having any activity on their phone. But that would have indicated when the timeline happened, because they would have had to have not have passed on yet. I mean, if you're looking at something more nefarious, certainly somebody could have access to someone's phone if you were looking deeper. But the fact is that those forensic downloads would prove, at least with Kaylee and Xana, what time the crime happened. But if the only way that the accounts of BF and DM couldn't be backed up is if this timeline was off. So what I'm getting at is this, is if DM had her phone in her hand, according to Cy Ray, this is what I'm basing this off of, and Bethany had her phone in her hand during the crime, during that 3-minute span they say the crime happened, they would have known DM's location. They would have known what direction she was moving, how fast she was moving. Depending on what features she used in what phone, they could even tell like her heart rate. So you can tell, like my phone, my iPhone, it has a button I swipe that, God forbid I get into a car accident or have a major fall, the phone can actually tell the difference. So it's interesting to know what the forensic downloads are. Now, I do question sometimes what they used for forensic download. That could mean a lot of things. Are they talking about metadata? So are they looking at a list of, like, do they have geolocation using the satellite? So did they access the magnetometers and gyroscopes in the phone? Or when they talk about a forensic download, are they simply talking about phone activity and text messages? I mean, I don't know. I looked at what they did with Brian Koberger's phone, which is a little bit of a different situation because they say the phone wasn't on at the time of the crime. And I looked at how they, studied that phone. So I read the warrant that was recently unredacted, and essentially the FBI had obtained the phone, kept it secure. When they had the warrants, they came and got the phone. And I'm reading how they examined the phone in the secure forensic unit. And one of the things they did was secure warrants for the different companies, like, for instance, Google, Reddit, blah, 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 blah. And it just made me think, what terminology, are we using different terminology? Because when I think of metadata, I think that, what the exact quote inside the paperwork was, and I tried to pull it up before I came on here, but there's just, I couldn't actually find the precise one. But he did specific searches, like warrants to the different apps on there to see if something had been deleted. And I thought a forensic download would specifically tell you the activity on the phone to everything. Like, you didn't have to specifically warrant each app to find out about it. So I don't even know if I understand the process yet. But what perplexes me is it should be very simple to clear BF and DM's name if they have the metadata. You know, I'm not saying that their names aren't clear now, but with a lot of people questioning them, why would they not say they have a forensic download of their phones, they know their activity? And if the timeline was off, they could even go back and like look at that activity at like, I have a researcher here on YouTube who has always talked about the timeline being different, like between 210 and like 350. Now, if that were true, they should be able to get the forensic downloads from back then too. So I just have lots of questions, and I keep reading all of the paperwork as it gets unredacted. And if, you know, I try to look, well, my dog really wants me to wrap this up. And I really am just trying to look for the gaps in understanding the things that I've been working on. And if I see more need for FOIA requests, I'll do so. Just trying to get all the information. So with that said, that's about all I had for this one. I want to talk about actually I have one more thing to talk about, which is the cleanup. This will only take a moment, but I did some research on the amino black and how that is used, and this is fascinating, you guys. So I should give credit. I saw this video on another creator's channel. It was on Viviana's channel, and it was on how amino black was used. Now in the kitchen, it's so intimidating when you see that crime scene investigation. You see blue all over the counters, all over everything, and it looks like it clung to like, it looks like that's the blood pattern. And I don't know if it is either. But I was listening to this expert discuss the kitchen, and she was trying to explain how they use the compound in order to find blood evidence. So it's essentially how it works is it looks like a little vial of like, I don't know, ink. And they basically put it, like, she said what the kitchen appeared to her as like a Hail Mary, like they couldn't find anything in the kitchen. So I don't know if it's the case, but basically what they do is they put this amino black on every surface when they can't find anything, and then they wash it off, and it clings to whatever blood evidence they could find. So they could have been looking for like a latent handprint or palm print or something. Now I don't know that for sure. I mean, I'd love to know some more analysis or what people think happened in the kitchen. But this explains possibly why the shoe print was latent in front of Dylan's room. Because if they were putting amino black down, now I always thought, back up a second, I always thought that Van's shoe print in front of her room might be like it was smudged, and then this was the one print that possibly showed the pattern of the shoe. But it sounds like what they did was put amino black down and wash it away, and it clung to this pattern of a Van's shoe. It just makes me think, when they say the crime happened within this 2 to 3 minute period, where was the cleanup and what was it? It could have been anything. You know, we think it could have been cleanup of footprints. We don't know. It could have been a cleanup in the kitchen. It could have been as simple as the fact that there's no blood evidence on the outside of the house. That's very unusual. I mean, normally my understanding is we'd see like a tent up and like investigators marking off evidence on the outside of a crime scene, but that wasn't there. So was the cleanup somebody shutting down their clothes, the soiled linens before they leave? Were they cleaning off their soiled clothes? Is that what they meant? And I just want to point out, and Miss Potts mentioned this in her live stream earlier, that could very well indicate something we've heard for a long time, which is naked man. And when we talk about the naked man, the reason I stopped talking about it is because I had heard that Olivia, Kaylee's older sister, had debunked that. But I found out recently that may not be the case. And the Gonzalez's basically came out and said they didn't really have other inside information aside from what we had. They found out about all of this crime scene stuff when we did. So I'm wondering, did Olivia even debunk that? And we don't know Bethany's exact statement. Could she have said she thought she saw that? So I wanted to bring that up too when we talk about what DM heard It really goes hand in hand with what BF heard too. And yeah, it would be nice for MPD to make some sort of statement saying they have forensic downloads of everybody's phone, they know their activity. I mean, they should. That's what CyRay does, and he's talked about it many times. He's trained thousands of law enforcement agents how to do it, and yeah. So I'd love to hear your comments down below if you've made it this far. I just appreciate you hanging out and listening to what I had to say, and I would hope you consider subscribing to my channel. With that, I hope you have a great day. Take care.